Hey guys, you're watching One and Only. My name is AJ. Welcome to Automation. If you've watched me for any amount of time, you'll know that I am a huge car fanatic. In fact, we've done a couple of vehicle-related series here on the channel quite recently. We've done My Summer Car, and we've just finished a series in Minecraft where we built our own replica engine. Automation allows you to create a car from scratch. You design it, you design the engine, you design all the setup and what goes in it, and it's really, really great. I've played it for quite a while now, about a year I think, but they've recently just rebuilt the game, if you like, into the Unreal 4 engine. It makes the game look so much more beautiful and has got me right back into it. It's been in beta for a long time, which is why all these grey boxes are sort of, you know, these boxes are greyed out because you can't use them. We've only got sandbox mode and some challenges at the moment. But like how Minecraft was in the old days, they update it so regularly. The developer behind this even has his own YouTube channel where he posts regular videos on what he's working on. And there's always little updates being added to it. And that's what I really like about these sort of early access games, is when a developer really gets their teeth stuck into it and enjoys it like this guy does. I can't remember his name, but I always watch his little dev updates, he calls them. This is going to be a long video. Most of these videos in this series are going to be long videos because there's so much to do. And I've got 10 episodes planned out for us. Today, we're going to be building a crazy car, because that's the first thing that you do if you get this game. The first thing you do is just build an absolutely crazy fast car. The second episode, we'll build a sensible car. So we'll make it up ourselves, but it'll be a more sensible, everyday car. The third episode, we'll take that car, but I'll show you how to make a sportier version, a faster version of that car, but using the same engine and the same body, and just doing a variant, like how you get, like, I don't know, the BMW 3 Series. You've got the M3, which is the top model, but then you've also got the sort of lower models, which are just for everyday use. We'll build a old car, like a 1940s or 1950s car, in the fourth episode. In the fifth episode, we're going to do a challenge of building our most economically possible car. We're going to try and get like a crazy miles per gallon out of a petrol car. Episode 6, we're going to build a proper race car. Episode 7, we're going to build a pickup truck. So we're going to have to set up the car in a different way and set up an engine in a different way to get some torques out of it, hopefully. Episode 8, we're going to build a replica car. So we're going to choose a car like a Ford Focus or an Audi A6 or something like that, and try and build as close to replica as we can. Maybe not completely on looks, but on speed and acceleration and handling. We're going to try and go for that. Episode 9, we're going to do another challenge. We're going to try and make the cheapest possible car, and that's going to be a really hard one. And then episode 10, we're going to build a crazy muscle car. Big American, old style, Dukes of Hazzard style vehicle. Buckle in, go and get some crisps or some popcorn, because these episodes are going to be long, but they need to be long because there's so much to do. I think I've spoken about everything that we need. I'm going to try and do this in a bit of a tutorial way, if possible. There's just a lot that you're probably not going to understand at first, but I'm going to try and run through it in as simple way as possible. So we've got some bodies that we can start from. Now today we're going to be building a pretty crazy car. We want it to be pretty modern, so let's set the year. We'll keep the year on 2007. Well, let's do 2018. Let's do this year. Am I the only one that keeps thinking that we're in 2017? I used to write it in my school books, like the old year for like the first 2 months of a new year. It was crazy. And which body do we like? I sort of like this one, a 2005 coupe body. I think we can fit a nice big engine in there. It looks pretty sporty. We'll go with that for our crazy car this episode. Now, you could, like I said, you can build absolutely anything in here. You can choose any option that you want. For the panel material, we want lightweight, so we're going to go with a carbon fiber panels, okay, on the car. We're going to go with a monocoque chassis. We could go space frame, but let's stick with monocoque here. The chassis, we should make the chassis, let's go with carbon fiber as well, nice and lightweight. The engine placement, if you don't know what like certain parts do, if you just hover over the question mark or click on this part here, it'll bring up like some text that will help you decide on what you want. With engine placement, a transverse engine means it sits sideways, which is how most like road cars, modern road cars sit. Longitudinal means that it sits sort of long ways. Now you can fit sort of bigger engines in that way, but it's sort of an old style way of doing it. We're going to go with longitudinal because we want to have a nice big engine in here. But if you were building like a modern hatchback, transverse is obviously a lot more compact. We've only got one option for the front suspension, which is double wishbone, and we'll do the same for the back. Or we could go with like a Multi-link. Yeah, let's go with multi-link. Let's go a little bit more expensive, okay? We still want people to be able to buy this car. This is where you'd have different variants of the bodies that the game has. Now, this one only has one. But, like, you can get some that will have, like, a coupe version, an estate version, a 4-door version, or 5-door version. But I think that's good for now. We've only got the one, so we'll keep with that. This is where we can now change the shape of the body. So we can pull certain parts up, we can push certain parts in, we can make it have big old wings on it and stuff like that. Let's have some wheel flare here so we can get some bigger tyres on at a later date. The front, I sort of like how I left it there. Like a nice sort of round, and I think it's got a nice smooth front on it. The bigger engine bay that we have, obviously the bigger engine that we can fit in it. However, remember that everything that you do changes a whole bunch of things. So although we can now get a bigger engine in, we'll get marked down because of the amount of cabin space that we have. It's not quite as comfortable for the passengers and the driver to be sitting in a more tight enclosed area. So do we want a load of cabin space but with a smaller engine, or do we want a bigger engine space with small cabin? I think we'll go somewhere in the middle. I think somewhere there looks about right. We can still get a big old engine in there, can't we? On the back, what can we do here? Ooh, look at that. See this little part here? That would be great for like one of those center brake lights to go in. I like that. That's pretty cool, right? Ooh, we could even bend that out. Little bit of a Corvette look. Oh, that looks aggressive. Yeah, I like that. For the paint, what colour shall we go with the paint? Like a blue? Oh, I like that. I like that. These are my preset colours that I have made myself. If we go into modify, though, I can show you how exactly it works. We've got the base colour here, where you can choose what the base colour is going to be. Whoop, whoop. But then I've added some pearl in, which is why we've got this sort of lighter aqua colour sort of seeping in. I think it looks really expensive. I think that's going to be perfect for this vehicle. We can paint different parts of the car as well, so if we wanted to, let's just go on to wheels quickly. I think they're pretty cool wheels. Yeah, we'll go with those wheels, right? And then if we go back onto paint, we can now choose close up. We can now choose, like, the primary part of the wheel will do black, and then the outer part of the wheel will do white. I think that looks pretty smart, right? Really nice looking wheels. So there's the paint done. We can now move on to the fixtures. Now, I like to just go down the columns so I don't miss anything. I can spend, what you need to remember though is when we're doing this series, guys, is I can spend like an hour or two building one car, and we haven't got the time to do that, so we're going to be rushing through certain parts of it, especially when it comes to the final tuning. We're not going to bother too much with it. We're just going to let it sort of sit where it is, because otherwise this episode is going to go on for over an hour. I'm expecting it to be about 40 minutes already. I don't know what it's going to be yet. So our headlights, what headlights do we want to choose from? These look pretty cool. Let's stick those on. Now, it looks a little bit weird when you're first placing them down, but as soon as you click, it'll sort of wrap the lights to the body. See, that looks pretty cool. What does it look like from the side? Oh, I like that. A little bit of a sort of McLaren or Ferrari looking lights there. I like that, and it makes the bonnet shape a little bit different. Very nice. I like that. We'll go with that. Tail lights. Right, what do we want? Oh, we definitely want that middle one like we were saying. I think that would be really smart to have, so we'll put that in. And then we've got some options. We can make it bigger, we can make it longer, we can make it thinner. Let's go with something like that, stick that in the middle. I think that's pretty cool. We'll go with that. And then, let's just show you what the other ones do if I just put a light down here. This one will make it only work on one side. If you wanted to have like an off-center mirror or something like that, we'll probably do that on the old style one. This one will flip it upside down. And this one will flip it left and right, which you can't really tell because obviously it's symmetrical down the middle there. I don't want that light though, so we'll hit the X. Okay, tail lights. What do we want here? I think these look pretty smart. We'll go with those, right? We'll make them a little bit... I think they suit the car. We'll make them a little bit bigger and maybe a little bit thinner. But I think the material that the light is made out of looks a little bit old, doesn't it? We're going with 2018. Although we're using a 2005 body, we want the fixtures to look a little bit newer. So we can go into the paint part here, and we can make the brake lights look a little bit more see-through as opposed to the sort of... I don't know, they always look older to me. I like the sort of see-through look. We'll do the same with the white, and we'll do the same with the orange here. I think that looks a lot smarter. Can we do it with that bit as well? Yeah, there we go. A little bit more modern looking, I think. Indicators, we'll stick an indicator on the side here. Let's go with a more modern sort of swish one. Where do we want it? We can have it on the door. We can have it on this front here. We can have it way down here. That's pretty smart. Let's have one down there. I like the look of that. Yeah, we'll go with that, right? I could change the front headlights here, but I think it's fine how it is. Grill. Now, none of these fixtures actually affect any of the car, any of your stats, apart from the grill, because the grill is very important. It allows your engine to get cooling. So you need to make sure that you have enough grills on here, enough airflow to be able to cool your engine sufficiently. Now, I want to have like a grill up here, and I want to have a grill down here. So let's go with something like this. Let's do the chrome one. No, I like the empty one, but we'll flip it upside down. And then we'll just make it a little bit longer to fit in that area there. I like that. And then we'll go with a bigger one at the bottom. Something like this. I think that looks pretty meaty and aggressive. We'll make it a little bit smaller, but a little bit taller. Oh, yeah. Maybe a little bit longer, even. I like that. Now we're going to go with some vents on the side. So these are like non-symmetrical ones. Let's go with something like this. I think they look a bit sporty. We'll rotate them around. We'll make them a little bit bigger. Maybe pull them a little bit more towards the front. Oh, that looks smart. Let's try and get it a bit closer. I like that bit of metal there. I think that looks really cool. Now, we could make it a little bit more realistic here and put a little headlight, like a little fog light or spotlight in it. If we went something like this, we'll put them down here. And then we'll make them smaller. And then we'll get rid of the chrome, because we don't want chrome. We'll go with the body color instead. Maybe it's a little bit too big. Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool. Some little fog lights. Now, always hit save. This is a beta game. It does crash every now and again, so be prepared for that. What should we name the car? We'll just name it the, I don't know, we'll name it YouTube Crazy, because it's a crazy car. And the trim, which is like the fixture side of it. So this first one is for the body. This second one is for like the trim, because you can make different trims depending on the model. If you wanted to make like the Ford Focus ST, the Ford Focus Estate, you could do that. So we'll just go with standard. Okay, save. Always save along the way. A bonnet scoop? Yeah, why not? Let's put a bonnet scoop on here as well. Oop, in the middle. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, we're going to have to speed up. Aerodynamics, yes, let's go with a nice big lip on the front here. Lower it down and wrap it around the car as much as it'll go. Ooh, look at that. And I don't think we need it on the back. I think it's fine on the back. Spoilers and wings are the weak point of the game. There isn't really much in the way of spoilers yet, at least, but they are always adding more fixtures. At the moment, this is the only spoiler that we've got, so we'll stick that one on. We'll make it a bit bigger. Maybe it's a little bit too big. Now, it doesn't sit quite right. It's just a little bit angled, and it's not quite big enough for what I want, but it looks pretty smart, so we'll go for it. They will be adding more soon. Fuel cap. Let's have a round fuel cap. I think it looks a little bit more modern. What about on the top, like a race car? Make it a little bit bigger. I like that. Door handles. We want modern-looking door handles. I think I like the look of these, but I don't like the chrome. I don't like the chrome on this car. We're going to keep it all body-coloured for this. Or maybe even go with a like plastic, like a dark grey. No, I like the body colour. Okay, it's automatically put it on the other side. You can choose not to if you wanted to, but I want to, so we're going to have that there. Mirrors. We want some nice, cool-looking mirrors. I think these ones are pretty cool, or maybe they look pretty cool as well. We'll go with these. Alright, so we'll put those on and make them a little bit bigger, because they look pointlessly small. Oh, yeah. Now we're getting a car. That looks pretty nice. I would drive that. What else we got? Aerial. Let's go with a shark fin on the top, so we can get our radio. And do I like the chrome, or do I want to have it body color? I think I want it body color as well, so it all blends in. We're not going with chrome on this vehicle. Some cars have a lot of chrome. This one, though, we're staying away from. We'll put a number plate on the front in the middle of the grille. Oh, that looks cool. And we'll put one on the back. Now, there's a little tip that I like to do with this. If you go to a grill and you pick a grill that you like, something, where do we want the number plate? Up there or down here? Let's have it up here. But then what we do is we make it a little bit smaller, and then we take the mesh away and we just fill it with body color. And it looks like that's where the number plate is supposed to go, because a lot of cars have a sort of recessed number plate. I think that's a really cool way to add a little bit of detail to the back without too much work. Let's also add, just so it looks cool, let's add a little grill to the back here. We'll flip it upside down. Oops. Flip her upside down. We'll have something like that. And I think I want two smaller ones. I think we'll probably stick with grills, but we'll just have them smaller on the side here. Can I have it? Hello? There we go. So we'll mirror it on both sides, because you'll see in a minute why I'm going to do that. You'll like this. Okay. That looks pretty cool. I like that. Nothing down here at the moment. I don't know if we'll bother putting anything down there. These sort of sport crazy cars can always be a little bit empty, can't they? Number plate we've done. We don't need any bumper bars on it. That wouldn't make sense. Oh, yeah, badge. Now, I always just put a Z on for Z1 and only, But you guys can make up your own badges if you want. So there's a Z on the front, look. And obviously we need a Z on the back as well. There you go. But you can put on, like, there's all sorts of, like, little animals and stuff that you can put on if you wanted to. Wheels we've already done. Exhaust tips. Look at this. We'll put the exhaust tip in there and mirror. Do we want 2 or 4? Oh my god. I just, like, nearly choked myself on air. Okay, another tip that we can do is we can shift click and that'll copy. Look at that. Oh yeah, in the middle of the grills there. That looks so cool. I think we're pretty much done, right? There's some other, like, decals and stuff that you can put on. You can put on, like, turbo if you wanted to. All that kind of, you know, stuff that they have on the back. Like, it would say, like, 2.4 litre or something like that. That'll do, though. There's our car done. Like, the body of it. That's going to look so cool going down the road, wouldn't it? I would love to drive that. Onto the engine. This is where we start getting really technical. We're going to go with a V engine. We're not going with an inline. I think a V would be cool. Let's go with a big V8. Big V8 engine. We could go V12, but that would be insane. Let's go with a V8. For our block material, I mean, let's go or magnesium. No, we'll stick with this one. Now, the bore and stroke. The left one is bore. The right one is stroke. Now, there's an awful lot of tool tips that can help you out here. So it says here, a wider bore will give you a larger maximum capacity and better valve flow. But then there's narrower, which will give you less valve flow, lower octane, lower weight. It would be smaller for smaller cars. And then your stroke is, well, what was the best way to describe this? Let's do it in layman's terms. The bore chooses the size of the engine, and the stroke chooses how far the pistons need to move up and down. That's the easiest way to explain it. In the middle here is the CC of the engine. Let's go with a 4.5 litre engine. I want a nice big one with a small stroke. Okay. Oh, that's too small. Whoa. So I want like a 4.5. No. 4.5 litre with a nice short stroke. The reason why we want a short stroke on this is because we want it to rev nice and high. And if the stroke is smaller on it, it should be able to rev faster. We'll go with 4 dual overhead cams. Oh, look at that beast. And we'll go with the head material at the top as the block material, so it lasts a little bit longer. We'll put some variable valve timings on it. Crank, we'll just go with the most lightweight ones because this is a crazy engine. We're not going simple here. We also have quality sliders on the side here that we can bump up and down. That will make the car more expensive or cheaper. But they'll either be made out of better parts or better materials or poorer materials. I like to, in my playthroughs, in my designing, keep them all at 0. If you go plus 15 on everything, you can make some quite cheaty engines. So I just like to keep them 0. I think it makes it a little bit more realistic. Compression, we're going to go with a higher compression if we hover over here. It says more power, better fuel economy potentially, and better fuel efficiency. We want a nice high compression in this car. Cam profile we'll leave how it is. VVL we'll leave how it is for now. We will be editing those later on. Now, it's a V8 engine. We don't need a turbocharger on it. Besides, if we put a turbocharger on it, we won't be able to get some nice exhausts on. We'll only be able to go with like short cast exhausts. Which wouldn't make sense. It'll actually limit the power by putting a turbo on it. So it puts one on each side, I think. So we're going to leave it a naturally aspirated engine. Plus, I think it sounds better. And it skips out a whole bar for us that we don't need to tune for the moment. We'll go with an injected engine. It's direct injections. We'll go per cylinder because it's going to look the coolest and it's going to give us the most power. And we'll go with a race intake. Look at that. So everything that we do here will actually change what we get. But race intake is going to give us the most amount of power. We can see up here that this is going to tell us, like, if the engine is going to fit in the car. With this engine at the moment, it can't be front wheel drive. The engine's too big to put power to the front wheels. And we're starting to get close on rear wheel drive 4x4 and all wheel drive. It's fine. We want either rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. So we're doing fine at the moment. We'll go with super fuel. I mean, this isn't... Well, let's go with premium. Let's make this car so we can actually still fill up at normal petrol pumps. Super and ultimate is like race car fuel. Regular is like your normal fuel. Premium is like the best fuel that you can get in fuel stations. We don't want to go with these lower ones. These are for older cars. Fuel mixture, I mean, we can leave that where it is for now. We'll tune that later on. A lot of these are all placeholders until we see how the car runs. We'll leave ignition timing where it is as well. Let's bump the RPM limiter up, though, to like 7,500. That would be nice if we could get that. Now, for the exhaust, or the head is here, we want to go with a nice either long or race tubular. I think we're going to go with long. It's not a race car, it's just a really nice car. We'll put dual exhausts on. We don't want a single one. As you saw at the beginning of the game, we had 2 exhausts on the one on each or 2 on each side, so we want to definitely go with dual. Let's just bypass the valves because we want it to be nice and loud. Let's bump the exhaust diameter up because we want to be able to get that power out. And let's put a high flow 3-way, but with straight through exhausts. Alright, so on our first setup, it automatically brings up the graph once you've filled everything in. We're making 389 horsepower. That's terrible. We can do a lot better than that. It's a nice graph. Basically, this blue one is our horsepower. I work in normal horsepower. Some of these might not make as much sense to you if you work in different dimensions, like if you work in millimeters instead of inches, or centimeters instead of inches, or whatever. If you work in miles, kilometers per hour, or miles per hour, or anything like that. My MPG is in MPG, but I know UK MPG is different to US MPG. So some things you might not, it might not like feel right with you because you're not used to that. That way of saying it. But to me, this is how we work in the UK, so obviously this is the way I'm going to understand it. We want this blue bar to be as diagonally straight as possible. Like, it's pretty perfect. The smoothness rating is on the side here, 64.6. The torque curve is a little bit weird, but the horsepower here, the power going through it, is pretty good. Let's tune it though. We can definitely do a lot better than this. We can leave all of that how it is. Can we get some more compression out of this? Let's bump the ooh. There we go. There's a warning sign here. It'll pop up in the bottom right here. It's saying the engine is knocking. Reduce engine performance. Well, reducing engine performance. Consider lowering the compression or the ignition timing. And as you can see here, it says knocking of 9%. So we went too high there. We'll leave it like that. It's great. It'll give you warnings for pretty much everything. Let's bump the cam profile up a bit. That's going to straighten out our graph a little bit. It's actually making it technically worse, apparently. Oh, it's because of the torque. I'm not going to bother about too much torque here. We're going to leave it about there. VVL will give us a lot more power. I mean, we can go crazy. Let's go to 7.7. Oh, I saw 777. There we go. That'll give us some more power as well. That'll give us an extra 2 horsepower. Looks like our revs can start to go up as well. That's going to be amazing. We can leave out turbocharger because we're not doing that. This is all fine. Let's start with the fuel mixture now. So we can bump this up. We're going to have to give it some more RPMs here to be able to get the rest of the power out. Look at this. Oh, no. 509 sounds about good. This will give us more power as well. Now, it's going to drop our MPG. At the moment, our MPG is 15 miles to the gallon, which actually isn't too bad out of a car like this. I mean, we're definitely not building it for MPG, are we? That's not something that we're interested in. Let's give ourselves... Oh, if we make the exhaust a little bit smaller, we get some more power. We get a lot more power of it, actually. That's way too small. I reckon we can do a lot better than that. Yeah, there we go, 578. What if we put none in? Oh, yeah, 581. There's more power. We can also bump up the rev limiter again. We want this to rev really high. I like high revving cars. It's a little bit silly to have a car that revs this high. But, yeah. Once you've got a compression that you like, I wouldn't recommend modifying it anymore. I'll just leave it where it is and modify everything else. My other computer just started up. So we're making the torque curve a little bit weirder there. So we'll leave that where it is. And, I think... Oh. 82, 582 horsepower. That's like a better amount of horsepower compared to our 300 and something that we had to begin with. We could get a lot more power out of using better fuels, but we want to keep this a road car. 582 seems to be about 582 and 400 peak torque isn't too bad, even though the torque graph here is a little bit weird. Alright, let's drop the RPMs down now so we don't start dropping power. 8,000 RPM I think is pretty good for what we need here. 582 horsepower, 400 pounds of torque is what we're going to go with. We can also hear what it sounds like. Oh, this might be a little bit loud. It's my first video that I've recorded with this. I have no idea on the sounds. I've turned the music right down so that doesn't get annoying to you guys. You might still be able to hear. Hopefully you can, because it is quite good music. But I don't know what this is going to be like, so this is probably a bit loud for you. Now, I don't think you really too often get a V8 that revs to 8,000 revs. I might be wrong there, but we don't get too many V engines in the UK that often. So that's the engine done. Oh, we should really name the engine. We need to name it. It is a V8 I always name it in a specific way. So if I put because you can put this engine into different cars if you want. It keeps the engine sort of separate, so you can like put the same engine into different cars to save cost in the game. So we're going to go with a V8 dual overhead cam, a 4 dual overhead cam. Okay, I just name it in a way that I can understand. You guys might not get it. And then on this one, I'm going to put a 4.5 litre, 582 horsepower. So there's a load of stats on the side here that I haven't really talked about. You know, loudness. It's very, very loud because we've got no baffled exhausts or anything. It's just all straight through. We've got cost. We've got service cost. It's going to cost you about 762, I think it's dollars per year to service, which isn't too bad. How much parts it costs, the 17 miles per gallon actually isn't that bad. We can probably get a little bit better than that as well when we start tuning the actual car itself. But yeah, we're not going to worry about that too much. It's a little bit too in-depth for the first episode. Okay, we're going to go with all-wheel drive here so we can get all of this power down onto the road. The car bits do go a little bit glitchy, but they always sort themselves out when you start doing things like that. We're going to go with a sequential gearbox. Yeah, let's go with a sequential gearbox. 6-speed. I don't know what the top speed is going to be, but it's certainly going to be more than 125. I'm going to bump that up to like 199 just as a placeholder. That's going to be about where it's going to be. It might even do, yeah, it'll do around that. We're going to go with an electric differential here so we can, so that the car can like get the power to the road using all of its crazy computer stuff. I'm leaving all the quality sliders on 0 because that's how I like to play it. We should really go with semi-slicks with this car, but because we want this to be able to go on the road, I mean, it's got a number plate and fog lights and stuff, so we're going to make sport whip tyres on it. So they're a little bit grippier, but they can be on the road. We want to have the tyre width pretty big. I mean, we're going to go, for the moment, we're going to stick 245s on the front and the rear. That actually sticks out a little bit too far, doesn't it? Let's drop those down so they don't actually stick out further than the bodywork. We could go back if we wanted to and drag the flares out so we could fit bigger wheels on, but that's fine for now. I think 17, we could go 18-inch wheels, make the rims a little bit bigger there, and we could probably drop down the tyre diameter. We don't need big old chunky tyres on there. At the moment, it would probably scrape the front. We'll sort that out later on. Let's go with carbon fiber rims so it's nice and lightweight for us. And for the brakes, we're going to go with carbon ceramic. We're going to want to be able to stop. For the moment, we'll just go with 3 pistons. We'll just bump the up to 11 inches. Same on the back. We'll go with 2 pistons. And we'll bump that up to about 11 inches as well. These are all placeholders at first. You always go back and change them. You just need to have something down to begin with. But you never really know what the car's going to need. We probably will want downforce on there here, but probably with no downforce actually added to it. I'm not going to bother about active wings and cooling flaps. The car's not going to need that. And this is going to be, or this is one of the most important bars. It's your cooling airflow. Now the top one has required cooling 456.92, and our cooling capacity, it starts off exactly what we need it to. If we put this down and we put less air into the engine than what it needs, we'll start overheating and start causing problems. I always like to give it a little bit more and then we can tune it back later. The braking airflow we're going to leave at the bottom at the moment. Oh, I tell you what we could do. Hang on. Let's just go back to the fixtures. Let's go on the vents and let's just give the back brakes some vents. So we'll just turn that because I think it looks cool when you do this. We just need to move it over here so we can turn it. Just a little modification to the body. Just so it fits behind the door there. Oh yeah, that looks cool, right? Yeah. Okay, save. Back to where we were. Back one. Okay, so we're gonna leave that where it is. Okay, seats. Let's go with a 2-seater. We don't need 4 or 5 seats in this. That would be a bit silly. We're gonna go with, well, it's not like a Bentley, is it? So we're just gonna go with luxury interior. It's gonna have a really nice interior, but it's not gonna be like handmade like a Bentley, is it? We're going to go with primo infotainment, and we're going to go with a really high-tech power steering because we want this to be able to be drivable. We're going to go with, well, that's ABS, that's traction control and ABS. This is like electronic stabilization, so it's where the car starts being clever and starts putting the power down where it needs to be. And then this is the same thing with launch control. We're going to want launch control on this because it's always cool to have. Let's put the best safety equipment that we can in it. It makes the car a little bit heavier, but it's a lot safer. We want safety, don't we? Active sport springs. We're going to go with maybe semi-active dampers. The only sway bars that we can have is passive. And now the car is technically done. It's popped up the graph saying we're ready to go. And these little green boxes on the left here is like our markets. This is who would buy the car in real life? Like, what does it sit into? So at the moment, it's sitting into a hypercar, supercars, convertible supercars, which it's not a convertible, but we could make a convertible version if you wanted to, and a Grand Tour, a premium Grand Tour, which I think is about right. I could see that as a Grand Tour car. I could definitely see it as a hypercar. My mic fell down. There we go. So yeah, I think we're pretty good. Now it's time to tune. We're going to go back to the beginning here, and we're going to change our top speed. We're going to bump it up. See this little red bar here? It's saying what our top speed of our car will be. So it's saying the top speed will be 222.4 miles an hour. That's crazy fast. That's exactly what we wanted. With a 0 to 60 time in 3.1 seconds. That's not that... Like, I've had cars get to 60 quicker, but 3.1 I think is acceptable. We can maybe get that a little bit better by bumping this up or down. 3.1 seconds is sort of what it wants. I sort of liked it where it was. Maybe bump it up a little bit. 3.1 seconds. Did I see a 3 second in there? I'm sure I saw a 3.0. Ah, there it is. Where was it? Was it up or down? 3.0 seconds. There we go. So we've shaved 0.2 seconds off the 0 to 60 time just by changing the gear ratio a little bit. Power distribution. At the moment it is 50-50. But if we drop this forward, as you can see, we've got wheel spin. We've got 1% of the power is being lost to wheel spin. So we need to drop this back here. Can we drop it back down to 0? I mean, 0.4 isn't too bad. It's not going back any further. In fact, it's going back up there. So we'll leave it at 0.4 wheel spin. We might be able to get that a little bit better by making bigger wheels on it. If we add this. Okay, now I'm looking at a few things. I'm looking at this, which are our markers. We want this number to get as high as we can. I'm looking at the drivability and the sportiness, and I'm looking at the wheel spin over here. So as we add thicker front wheels, the drivability is actually going down, but the sportiness was going up. By putting smaller front wheels on, we're making the drivability go up, but the sportiness go down. We want to get a nice balance of drivability. I'm also looking at this, which is our actual main stats. Drivability and sportiness is sort of what we're looking for here. What if we drop this down to that? Put that... I mean, 95 and 90 is a nice sort of mix. We've got a nice drivability stat. It probably is sticking out a little bit. Yeah, it's sticking out a little bit. We can fix that by dragging that out so it doesn't. Okay, now the car looks right as well as actually acting right. I need these bars up. We could fix an awful lot of wheel spin just by adding semi-slicks on the car, but we want it to be road legal, so we're going to do that. I don't think we need to set the rim offset. I think the wheels are sitting pretty right how they are. I mean, the back one could come out a little bit. Let's do it in a way that you can see it. Why does it cover it up? There we go. Zoop, zoop. Now that will affect our stats as well, so we need to be careful. It's making it a little bit better, just having it out by 10, which is all we can do. Perfect. Right, brakes. How are we doing on the brakes here? So we've got brake fade of 0, which is perfect. We don't want any brake fade. The rear brakes are way overpowered, but the front brakes are maybe a little tiny bit underpowered. I like to have a little bit more play in it than this. So the red bar, the darker or the brighter red bar, the one that goes up here, is what the car does. Or what the car... How would I explain this? That's sort of what the car is performing at. And the straight red one is what the brakes can do. So our rear brakes are way overpowered. In fact, we could probably drop that down to a 1 piston. Makes it cheaper. And makes the brakes like not as sharp. You don't want them to be like crazy sharp. And then we can fix this top one by just making it a little bit bigger. We'll put 11 point... Maybe you can put... Well, 11.6s I think has a little bit of play in it. We can make the bottom one's a little bit smaller here. It's making our stats actually better as well because the brakes aren't being quite as sharp. As you can see, the numbers are going up 100.9, 100.8. So that was about right, 100.9 there. The brake bias seems to be about right. We've got no brake fade. We go from 0 to 60 to 0 in 95.5 feet. I think that's pretty strong. We're going to leave it like that. Downforce is actually going to make the car worse, I feel. Yep, it did. That'll probably make it a little bit better. No, it made it worse. I'm going to leave it like that. We're not going to affect that anymore. I'm going to leave all this how it is as well. I don't want to affect that. And you could, if you wanted to, go crazy into the tuning of the suspension. I just like to go through that. Well, for this series, we're just going to go through them for now and see which one it likes the best. So normal, 100.5, 100.3, 101.6 for sport, 101.8 for race, and 99.6 for off-road. 101.8 is great. If I was off camera, I would go through now and I would tune this to be perfect, but we haven't got time to do that kind of thing. We're going to go now ride height. We're bottoming out. See the ride height of 42.99. We're bottoming out by 7.52. I think that's inches. I don't know. It might be millimeters. But basically, the body's hitting the ground. However, if I put this to 0, which is going to be way up here, you look, the car's going to look ridiculous. Look at that. The car looks absolutely ridiculous. So we're going to ignore the bottom out for this episode at least. We're just going to make it look and sit about right. I think that's about right. I mean, you don't want to be too far in the arches, do you? Maybe the back one's a little bit high. We'll go with that. I think that just looks the best. It's not perfect for performance, but we're fine with that. This is our steering. I didn't explain this graph too much earlier on. Did I explain the other graphs? Yeah, I explained the other graphs pretty well. Okay, but this one. So the yellow one is what our car is doing. The blue line is at the point that it understeers. The red point is at the point that it oversteers. So for a normal road car, you want it to be as close to, well, sort of as close to the blue as possible. Well, really in between, but maybe you want the graph to go down. You want normal road cars usually understeer. However, if you're making a drift car, you would want this yellow bar to go up because you want oversteer. You want it to drift. And oversteer is when the tail of the car comes out. Basically, I'm putting it in. I'm trying to simplify things a little bit here. You know, I'm pretty happy with how it is. If anything, I'd maybe want the graph to go up. I would want a little bit more oversteer. But look, I can already tune it and make it better. I think that's see, it's just I can do everything. I can just change bits here and there to make it better. We might even get a little bit more top speed out of this now. Nope. 222.2 I think is a fair speed. 0 to 60 in 3 seconds on the nose. Save. I like it. We've got some more stats here that we can look at. The car is not practical at all. Which doesn't surprise me. We didn't build it to be practical. I just stood on a bag. I'm sorry if that made a noise. 18 miles to the gallon actually is quite acceptable out of a supercar. 18 miles to the gallon? I mean, yeah, most trucks, or some trucks only do like 12. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. A quarter mile in just under 11 seconds. Under 11 second quarter mile. You know, I'm pretty happy with that. It would cost $36,000 to make. So if you go into the markets here, we can see that Hypercar, Supercar, Convertible Super, and GT Premium are the top 4 that the car would sell for in this region. We've also got some other regions here. We've got Gazmere, which is the one that like defaults to. In Gazmere, it has the same 4, and I doubt it'll sell in this place at all. No, nobody wants it in that area. I usually think of this one as like an old Russia / India style sort of region, where they want like cheap cars that, you know, they're sort of older, cheaper cars seem to sell well there. It feels, this one I always find to be like a bit of Europe-y, and this one seems to be a bit American-y, sort of. Is sort of a simple way to explain it. And we can change the margins here, so we can, if we made 30% profit on the car, we're still actually getting really good scores. So, I mean, as a car, we've actually made a successful car here. We can go onto the test track. This is the old Top Gear test track here. We can see how fast it goes round. Oh man, it's so loud. That's too loud. I can't hear that. That's crazy loud for me. It got round in 1 minute and 60, or it would get round because I just skipped it. 1 minute and 16 seconds. What does that mean? Can I load this up? Oh, yeah. Let me just get Top Gear test tracks up. Hold on. Put this up here. Top Gear test power laps. Where would we sit? Okay, we got round in 1 minute 16, which would put us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What was it? 0.2, 10. It would put us 11th on the Top Gear board. We would beat the McLaren MP4. We're a little bit. We're 0.1 seconds slower than the Porsche 991 GT3. A little bit slower than the Huracan, a little bit slower than the Audi R8 V10, but we're faster than the Bugatti Veyron around the track, faster than the Ferrari F12, faster than the Koenigsegg CCX. I mean, that's not bad, you know. That's not bad. A top, like just in the top 10 of the Top Gear test tracks on our first crazy car. We didn't even make it to be realistic in a way. We went a little bit crazy, but just kept it road legal. I'm impressed. We're going to leave the episode there, guys. I was right. It sort of ended up being about a 40-minute episode. Next episode, what are we doing next episode? We're doing our own car, but it's going to be a sensible car this time with a sensible engine in it. and start trying to get maybe some good MPG out of it. We'll try and set ourselves a goal or something. Oh, hold on. Before you go, we can go and take a picture of the car. So we can go into here. We can go into the photo scene for the thumbnail. We need to do the thumbnail together, don't we? Let's go on, I don't know, small factory. We'll just choose like an area for us to take a picture. It's all good for a thumbnail here. And then we'll stick it on the corner. And we'll walk the camera around a little bit. Somewhere around here. We'll turn the car so it's facing us, something like this. Make a really nice thumbnail. Just put the aperture top to the top here so we don't get any blur. Let's go up a little bit. Oh yeah, that's a shot right there, isn't it? What if we get a filter on it? It's a little bit dark. I think it looks pretty cool like that. It's a really nice sort of realistic filter on it, isn't it? Or do we go with that one and drop the exposure back down again? No, we're going to go with that one. I like that one. Alright guys. Snap. Thumbnail taken. Bye.